When a student fails a class, we all share the exact same reflex. We assume they didn't study hard enough, didn't pay attention, or just couldn't grasp the material. The blame falls entirely on the student. But what if we've been looking at this backwards? What if the students are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and the institution itself is broken? If we evaluate modern schooling under the same standards we hold a doctor or a lawyer, there is a clear charge to bring forward: educational malpractice. Look at the symptoms. We are turning out millions of young adults who are chronically burnt out, stripped of their natural creativity, and entirely unprepared to navigate a modern economy. We spend decades trying to fix the kids, prescribing them medication or extra tutoring, but we cannot solve this problem until we put the system that raises them on trial. To understand the scope of this negligence, we have to look at how the rest of society has evolved over the last century and a half. Human progress tends to be exponential. A century ago, this was state-of-the-art transportation. Today, we drive electric vehicles equipped with autonomous navigation and high-speed computers. Communication made the same leap. We went from a brass candlestick phone tied to a wall to a supercomputer resting in your pocket. Even medicine went from surgeons operating with bare hands in crowded theaters to precision robotics and targeted gene therapy. But there is one glaring exception to this pattern of rapid evolution. This is a classroom from the late 1800s. If you walk into a public school over a century later, the design is virtually identical. A teacher stands at the front, dictating information to students organized in rigid rows. Maintaining a 150-year-old design ignores the total transformation of the world outside the school walls, leaving students stranded in a dead era. Why was this specific, rigid layout chosen in the first place? To answer that, educational historians and experts like Sir Ken Robinson and John Taylor Gatto have traced the blueprints back to their source. Our modern schooling system was designed and implemented at the exact height of the Industrial Revolution. The burgeoning industrial economy required a workforce capable of repetitive, precision tasks. Success meant following a manual to the letter and repeating the same motion for hours without variation. If you look at a factory floor from that era, the inspiration becomes obvious. You organize people into neat, uniform rows. You isolate their tasks into specific batches, and you control their entire day by the ringing of bells. The features that seem like flaws today, the bells, the rows, the uniformity, align perfectly with the system's original industrial intent. It is functioning exactly as it was designed to. The physical layout mirrors a deeper psychological framework, one that replaces the human instinct for discovery with a rigid process of instruction. Humans are inherently diverse, with unique strengths and interests, but the education system relies on standardization, taking all of those distinctly different minds and forcing them into a single rigid mold. The primary tool used to enforce this uniformity is the multiple-choice standardized test. It reduces human intelligence to A, B, C, or D. It completely ignores emotional intelligence, lateral thinking, and creativity, rewarding only the students who can temporarily memorize and regurgitate facts. When success is defined by a single letter in a bubble, the natural desire to ask why becomes a distraction. We trade a child's inherent wonder for a high score on a metric that can't measure it. Based on the overwhelming evidence, the verdict is abundantly clear. The institution is completely guilty of educational malpractice. We cannot solve this by simply buying new iPads or extending the school day. You cannot tweak a 19th century industrial machine and expect it to produce 21st century thinkers. The future of education has to be personalized, creative, and decentralized. Fortunately, educators and innovators are already building these new models from the ground up, proving that a customized approach to learning is entirely possible today. It is time to stop accepting a factory model for our children. The question now is how quickly we can tear down the old assembly line and build a system that actually teaches them how to think.